Paris is a feast of monumental sights, delectable foods, and some of the world's finest art. Since the Middle Ages, philosophers, scholars, and artists have flocked to Paris. With them came new ideas and a spirit of inquiry and change. Paris has always been in the avant-garde, at the cutting edge. Parisians are born with style. Everything they do, from displaying pastries to designing department stores, they do it with flair. Paris is art. It's cafes, food, fashion, wine, and above all, its people. And the way I love to experience the art of Paris is on the streets. The heart of the city can be easily explored on foot, and there's no better way to get to know the different moods and moments of Paris. The city is split in half by the Seine. The right bank is the upscale side of town. The Louvre, Tuileries, the Champs-Élysées are on this side. The left bank is known for its bohemian student atmosphere. The Sorbonne is here, as well as the museum known for its impressionist collection, the Musée d'Orsay, and the Eiffel Tower. This is the Café de Flore on the Boulevard Saint-Germain, left bank. You know, writers and artists and even the architects of the French Revolution hatched a lot of their ideas in cafes. The writer Jean-Paul Sartre wrote one of his existential masterpieces right here, and in fact, I'm working on something pretty serious myself. Well, just as soon as I finish my pastry. Cafes are the heartbeat of Paris. In some ways, they're an extension of the living room for Parisians who live in pretty cramped apartments. This tendency to be out in the world, interacting and exchanging ideas, is another reason Parisians are always setting new trends. It started early, this desire to reach for the sky. Notre Dame de Paris was begun in 1100, springing out of a new popular idea, the celebration of the Virgin Mother. Prior to the 11th century, the Virgin played a relatively minor role in Christian religion. Then after the Crusades and contact with the East, something changed. The focus shifted from low, heavy structures to light, soaring structures dedicated to the Virgin. Gothic cathedrals like Notre Dame sprang up all over France. Suddenly, stone seemed weightless. And stunning stained glass filled the churches with light. For the common people who spent most of their lives in small, dark dwellings, the airy cathedrals were marvels. Climbing to the top of Notre Dame, some 300 steps, is an excellent way to work off those pastries. Here you can cozy up to the gargoyles and take in all of Paris. The original medieval gargoyles gradually wore away and from time to time toppled over the side, landing with a crash on the pavement below. In the 19th century, new gargoyles took their place as the guardians of Notre Dame. Just cross the Petit Pont near Notre Dame and you're in the Latin Quarter, named for the language of scholars that was spoken here. The University of Paris, the Sorbonne, drew scholars from all over the world. In the 13th century, the streets of the Latin Quarter were open-air classrooms. Seated on straw, the students took in lectures from instructors like the Italian poet Dante. At the Faculty of Medicine, great medical minds studied, experimented, and searched for cures for common ailments. To combat baldness, these fine doctors came up with a new remedy. Boil 300 slugs, skim off the grease, add 3 tablespoons of oil and 1 of honey, and then rub vigorously on your scalp. Hey, I'll try anything. The learning and experimenting in the Latin Quarter continues. Students still fill the streets, and the area today is a lively mixture of bookstores, cinemas, and fast food joints. If there's still any doubt about the Latin Quarter's claim to learning and erudition, you just have to wander along the Seine in this area. The stands aren't selling hot dogs and beer, but books, books, and more books. One Latin Quarter church, Saint-Séverin, is worth a stop for the stained glass, both its radiant 15th century windows and its 1968 abstract art windows. Wander behind the altar into the palm tree grove named for the twisted columns. Saint-Séverin represents Gothic architecture in its later stages. When it's time to move on, look for the stylish red signs. While you can cover most of Paris by foot, the quickest way to get where you want to go is to take the metro. It's a marvel of efficiency. It's really quite easy. Study the map, pick your route. I'm headed to the Pompidou Center at the station Rambuteau. The end of the line is called Marie de Lila. So I follow the signs for that direction. Bonjour, monsieur. May I have a carnet, please? It's good to have spare tickets in case the ticket booth is closed. I always buy a carnet, a packet of 10.
Merci, monsieur.
Feed the ticket through the turnstile machine. It'll pop up further along. Then keep the ticket in a safe place. An inspector may ask to see it on the train and will fine you if you can't produce it. To change lines, follow the signs that say correspondence. To leave, look for sortie or exit. When the Pompidou Center opened in 1977, Parisians expressed outrage. They complained that this building showed a lack of respect for the historic character of the city. The Pompidou is a building turned inside out. Architects Richard Rogers and Renzo Piano ran the electrical, water, and ventilation systems outside the structure. The pipe